Hey, welcome back to Dwarven Tavern Pathfinder Unchained review. I am Dr. Jeff Nolens. This is the Dwarven Tavern. And as we left off in our last adventure, we were about to talk about skills and options. And the skills and options are part of the revamped stuff. And things are changed. Skills and feats are key components, as we see here. Key components you can use to customize character, as we all know. This chapter enchains skills from their foundations, presenting new optional rules that simplify and streamline skills, which we're all always about, right? Simplifying and streamlining, and that gives you room to overcomplicate and confuse later with other things, as necessary. Because we always like to do that too, right? I know I do. Because some things just don't seem like they should be that simple, and etc. The chapter's final section includes an alternative approach to multiclassing, in which you trade out some of your feats to customize your characters with powers from a secondary class of your choice. So, that works. It has background skills, rules for background skills, which is very cool, like appraise and artistry and craft and so forth, right? And those are background skills. And then adventuring skills are things like acrobatics, bluff, climb, diplomacy, disable the mouth, device, and other things that you would normally use more in the field, right? So, and then you have grouped skills and consolidated skills. And skill unlocks, which is a new system, which makes perfect sense. Characters unlock additional abilities when they attain 5, 10, 15, and 20 ranks in a skill. The skill unlock system interfaces with the Unchained Rogue to make the rogue a true master of skills. So you can do that with your things, with your skills. And then there's a variant of multiclassing. It has a pretty decent side of artistry, and it has DCs for things that you can do within those skills, such as for expanded skill uses, determine what culture made an item. It's a craft skill, DC of 15. Identify a famous maker's mark. By item type, a DC of 10. That's like, taking your bard to Antiques Roadshow and having them say, oh, this was made in the 13th century by this. You can see this little scratch that he always did when he wiped his brow whilst making this silver thing, and his cufflink always, he had a signature cufflink that always scuffed it. And it's like, how do you know these things? You don't. You're making it up. But alas, you can do it with this. Then you have a list of things like the table below, which craft skills use to lists which another one of those sentences. No, the table below lists which craft skills to use for certain prominent items and adventuring tools. So if you wanted to craft an alchemist's lab, you would need a craft skill of alchemy. Makes sense, right? If you wanted to craft a chain, you'd need blacksmithing or traps making. I think blacksmithing would be a better... You might even want to give it a different DC, depending on the skill that they can use. A climber's kit, disguise kit, flint and steel, blacksmithing, stonemasonry, etc. Silk rope, you'd need skills in cloth making, and etc. So it's all very, very common sense and very good stuff, but it's all listed here, and I like tables. You know how I am. I like tables. Then consolidated skills are more like putting skills together. It's that whole skill synergy thing. And it puts together things like Acrobatics is a combination of acrobatics, escape artist, fly, and ride, because that's all can be put into the consolidation of acrobatics. Then it has a list of consolidated skills like finesse, which is the core skills included would be disable device and sleight of hand. Nature, influence would be a bluff, diplomacy, and intimidate, because if you can do one, it makes sense that you can do another, and if if someone is persuasive, then it's very possible that they could be diplomatic, that they can bluff well, or that they could intimidate someone if need be. So there's no need to have all three skills when you can pile them into one, and make one skill check from that, and just increase that influence skill. Makes sense to me, and I like the simplification of it. And actually, D&D 5 does it as well. So I think we're all kind of leaning toward that simplification mindset. While it was neat to see all of the possibilities, and I can have this skill, and I can have that skill, I can have skill in handling, I don't know, beavers or or badgers or something. It's like, yeah, but what about the honey badger? It's like, well, that would have to be a different skill, because honey badgers are different. What about wolverines? Like, okay, you can make a different skill in wolverines. What about antelope? It's like, no, that can be included with honey badgers. Or not. I think not. So then we've got those skills, and it goes into real depth. It goes into serious depth with all of the skills, as far as I can see, about what skills can do what, and so forth. So it's I give it full marks for that. It allows you to alter. It has rules for altering feats, so you know what the guidelines are for those. Because everybody wants to alter their feats. Some people like to wear high heels, some people like to wear boots. That is a feat alteration, but not like it is in the book. Bless you. So you can alter feats and alter traits and so forth, and it has rules for that. It has grouped skills, which are, it's similar to consolidation, but the skills are grouped by level, and it allows you to do variants of those. Like, for example, in the skill group of natural, you've got handle, animal, heal, and survival, which makes sense. And you get a skill specialty and a number of bonus skill specialties to apply to that for your skills, your skill group, which is pretty cool. Then it allows, it has rules for alternate crafting and profession for your skills, which is very cool. It actually includes a table here for, I'm just going over to see, for something simple. It's a craft DC of 5. For something extremely intricate, it's a craft DC of 35. So that would be like the base DC for elven work, or for elven, I don't know. Well, everybody knows elven craftsmanship and dwarven craftsmanship are extremely high, just depending on what the item is, so it increases the depth into which you can go, which I love. So it simplifies in some directions, and it allows for detail in other directions, which I really like that. I just could not put this book down when I started reading it. It has a table on page 76 about special raw materials, and it gives raw material costs such as adamantine, alchemical silver, angel skin, blood crystal, bone, bronze, cloth, cold iron, which cold wrought iron, it's powerful stuff. It's powerful mojo. And leaded iron, mithril, which I pronounce mithril, but that's just me and a lot of other people. Obsidian, steel, all the way down to Y root. I don't know. Why not? And it has alternate profession rules as far as how much money it costs to hire them or you, so you can have an idea of what you're worth if you just want to hire yourself out. Then it has skill unlocks, which is an incredibly cool thing. So, for example, we'll go here to diplomacy. With sufficient ranks in diplomacy, you earn the following. In 5 ranks, the time required to influence a creature's attitude or gather information is halved. So with 5 ranks, you're quicker at your manipulations. At 10 ranks, you can attempt to adjust a creature's attitude in 1 round by taking a -10 penalty. But if you have 10 ranks, that's, So you take 1 minute to adjust a creature's attitude, add your charisma bonus to the number of hours that attitude change persists. At 15 ranks, you can attempt to adjust a creature's attitude in 1 round with no penalty. If you take a minute to adjust a creature's attitude, the duration of the resulting change is measured in days, not hours. So you can really lay the charm on. You can gather information in 10 minutes by taking a -5 penalty. And with 20 ranks, you can attempt to adjust a creature's attitude in 1 round with no penalty. If you take a minute to adjust a creature's attitude, the duration of the resulting change is measured in weeks, not hours. So that's good around election time. You can gather information in 1d4 minutes with no penalty. And all of the skills that are listed, which is, I don't believe it's all the skills, but it is quite a few of them. And they're the ones that make sense to have skills in, that you could have skill unlocks in, I suppose. Then we get onto variant multiclassing, which allows you to, it's just a different way of multiclassing with a character. So, like, for example, multiclasses, this is kind of puts it in a nutshell. Multiclass character advancement at first level is a feat, second level is nothing, third level is a secondary class feature, 5th level is a feat, 7th level is another secondary class feature, then it alternates every 2 levels with feat, secondary class feature, and so forth and so on. So it kind of puts a balance on your stuff, for lack of any true words. Although stuff is a word. I looked it up. It's a word. So then you've got, and then it has a list of base characters, base classes, and so forth, and how they interact with each other, and it's also very good. Chapter 3 is gameplay, and gameplay is an entire section that involves things that it's like the backstage of the game, in which we have alignment. It discusses alignment for those of you who like to play with alignment or don't like to play with alignment. It also talks about removing alignment, revised action economy, replacing iterative attacks, combat tactics, wound levels, and disease and poison. Now, starting with alignment, there are things that your characters do, and I've seen this question a million times about how to handle alignment changes and things like this. And here on page 95, you can see right here, it's got this wonderful little chart that allows you to tick off where the character is as far as changing alignment. So it has 1, 2, 3 is lawful, 4, 5, 6 is neutral, and 7, 8, 9 is chaotic. And that's with the That's with the ethics. And then the morals, it goes 1, 2, 3 good, 4, 5, 6 neutral, and 7, 8, 9 evil. And for those of you who don't like to play alignments, and the alignment also it has a number of alignment feats, which, I think my feet should be aligned forward. Removing alignments, it talks all about loyalties and classes and the effects of, like, the paladin, of course, is one of the most, the paladin and the monk and the druid, right? Those are all very specific alignment-oriented character classes. So if you remove alignment from the game, what happens to the paladin? Well, in this case, a paladin's code, and it's got little quotes here, a paladin's code require that she respect the legitimate authority, act with honor, not lying, not cheating, not using poison, and so forth, backstabbing, so forth, like that, accepting surrenders. Help those in need, provided they do not use help in a way that betrays the paladin's oath. Like, what are you doing there, orc? I'm trying to eat all of this child's guts. Can you help me? You are in need, therefore I must help you. It's like, no, you stand at work up against a tree and repent them to death. And punish those who harm and threaten innocents. Thus the child. And that would be not alignment based, but it would be more ethics based. And even though ethics are a part of alignment, it doesn't say so specifically. So you would have to go against, and that's kind of the way it is with the real world. It's like, I can't do that, I'm lawful good. Who says that? The next part is revised action economy, which is, and it says here, and I'll quote, the game is intricate, Pathfinder, intricate, full of exceptions, non-actions, and strange actions. This allows for things like attack actions, complex actions, actions without a subtype, that don't provoke attacks of opportunity, and so forth. And it has this huge list of things that all make sense. I can't really argue with any of it, and though I tried. It puts them into a decent perspective. So that's a good thing. That's a really good thing. I like that. And then, of course, I think just about all of this stuff, I mean, it even says so in the back that it's 3.5 OGL compatible. So you can definitely apply this stuff to your D&D game. Not 5th level, but 3.5. Then it goes to removing the iterative attacks. It says iterative attacks allow combatants to deal high amount of damage, but they can also make turns a long time. Oh yeah. Some characters' subsequent attack have a bonus that's so much lower, this can lead to a lot of time spent on missed attacks. With this new system, entire full attack resolves with a single D20 roll. Other sorts of attacks, such as attack actions, attack of opportunity, attack screen by the whirlwind, and attack feat, are resolved as normal. I think that would be the cleave and great cleave too. So what you do is the attack roll is when you're attacking multiple targets, you gain an additional hit for every 5 by which the attack roll exceeds the target's AC. And I'm really simplifying it. It's pretty in depth. If you have more than one maximum hit, you can declare that you're making a full attack against one or more target. In that case, your number of hits is determined by the highest AC among your targets. You can allocate your hits however you like among all the targets. Your total number of hits, and you can even choose not to hit the target whose AC you rolled against. This doesn't allow you to bypass effects that would prevent you from hitting a creature normally. For instance, you couldn't assign a hit to a creature under a sanctuary effect even when making an attack roll against different creatures, because, sanctuary. So, that makes it very, and it's also the maximum number of hits is also determined by or limited by your level. So if your base attack bonus is 0 to 5, you can only have one maximum hit because you're still a noob. If it's 26 to 30, you can have a maximum number of hits of 6. So that's even better than the 4 natural hits that you can get. Then they have this really in-depth freaking, how many pages? It's like 8 pages, 10 pages. And it keeps going. So it's from page 113 to 135. 113 to 135 of combat tricks, new combat maneuvers. And it's just, I mean, it is amazing. It's like Adder Strike and Armored Gunslinger and Canny Tumble and Close Quarter Thrower, throwing weapons in close quarters, and Elder's Claws and Felling Smash and Weapon Focus and Seething Hatred and Risky Striker and Tripping Strike and blah, blah, blah. The list goes on. Not quite forever, but close enough. And then it has Wound Thresholds, which that kind of complicates the game a little bit, in my opinion. I mean, we're all about simplicity, but we are also about realism. So the more simple you make something, the more realistic you can make others. I think that Wound Thresholds might be part of that, that realism, because it's balanced on how you want to do it. So you would have your hit points that would be maximum, grazed -1, wounded -2, critical -3, and disabled. Maximum, of course, is your maximum. Anytime you drop below 53, okay, in this example, you have a maximum of 71. When you lose a quarter of those hit points, which would be 53 rounded, you're grazed, which means you're at -1. When you're at 35, you're wounded at -2. When you drop below 17, you're at critical, which is -3. And then, of course, 0 to -1, you're disabled, which is minus everything. So that is a little bit more complicated, and it may slow the game down. But if you a little, I don't think it would, because all you have to do is put -1 by your stuff, and that applies to everybody. So you can say, well, this Lord Thrakamore is definitely wounded. You can see that he's not doing as well as he did, and you've got him. You're wearing him down, and you can see that, because I've never agreed with that whole philosophy of not showing any signs of combat damage until they're like dead, which makes like ha 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 ha, oh, dead, so that I never agree with that. This makes it's a little more complicated, because you have to divide something by 4, which is silly not to. Then it has an extensive list of diseases and poisons, which are always nice for the Dungeon Master. But it allows for a lot of detail in your game, and simplicity, realism, and detail. These 2 or 3 different things. Then okay, so that is all we're going to cover in this one. When we return, the next one is going to be about the section on magic, and that's a pretty extensive system. So magic and monsters, and hopefully we'll be able to crack both of those in the next video. I'm Dr. Jeff Gorns. This is the Dwarven Tavern review of Pathfinder Unchained. Guys, Unchained. And don't forget to look them up at paizo.com/Pathfinder, and tell them we said hi. And don't forget to look us up at www.dwarventavern.net. And don't forget, we wish for you to want for nothing but adventure. First I feared it, then I charged. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
Let the